where the Ghana Bar Association has issued a strong call for the immediate revocation of the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, describing the action as unconstitutional and lacking a legal basis under Ghana's 1992 Constitution. In a statement dated April 26th, the GBA contended that the President's decision to suspend the Chief Justice under Article 14610 of the Constitution is flawed. Now, I'm going to be joined by my colleague Hansen Ajiman to give us details of what is happening to do with that statement and the calls for the revocation. Hansen, you have been following what the GBA has said. Take us through, firstly, why it's saying that suspension should be put on hold.
So the GBA earlier came out with a release where essentially it was saying that all parties should respect rule of law and make sure that rule of law abides in the arrangements or the processes ongoing seeking for the removal of the Chief Justice. But over the weekend on Saturday, they held a mid-year conference. Okay. At that conference, members of the association discussed a number of things, including the processes for the removal of the Chief Justice. And then some resolutions were made, which included whether or not the President should revoke the suspension of the Chief Justice. Yes
or no? So what were some of the things that they came up with?
So the first thing they're saying is that the President should revoke the suspension of the Chief Justice, because if you look at Article 146, which dictates proceedings for the removal of a Chief Justice, that said article said you can revoke the suspension of a Chief Justice after a prima facie case. You can suspend a Chief Justice after a prima facie case has been established, and the President has formed a committee. The President has a discretionary power to say that what processes are ongoing, sit aside and let us investigate the matters. After investigations, then a decision will be taken. They are saying that if you look at Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution, that article particularly says that if you are an authority exercising the discretionary power and you are not a judicial officer, you need to publish some instruments based upon which you exercise that power. So they are saying that the President is not a judicial officer. And so in exercising the discretionary power to suspend the Chief Justice, he should have first published some statutory instruments or principles on the mode of exercising that. Without publishing those requirements or constitutional instruments, statutory instruments, they say that the President is in breach of due process, and so he should revoke the suspension.
So those are the first two. Which other ones are there?
So they are asking for the enactment of regulations on Article 146. Aside that, also they are asking for the release of the decision on the prima facie in the prima facie case. So we know that in all these proceedings, the President and the Council of State determined a prima facie case. That determination, he's asking the President to publish reasons for the determination of the prima facie case. The GBA again is saying that they are going to fight, or for lack of better words, fight anybody who makes unsubstantiated and political statements undermining the judiciary, and in doing so, they may resort to going to the courts. So these are the issues particularly with respect to the suspension of the Chief Justice.
Four key ones that you've mentioned. One to do with the release of the decision on the prima facie case, one to do with the denunciation of the prejudicial comments, and two others having to do with
revocation of the suspension and enactment of regulations about 146. So
Great. So apart from these four things, during that meeting as well, they expressed some concerns with the suspension. What are they?
So aside the suspension, they expressed concerns about the ongoing issues in Bawku, where they noted that it's important that various stakeholders take efforts to bring peace in Bawku. So they commended ongoing mediation efforts in Bawku. They also indicated that it is important that eminent chiefs like the Asantehene have been involved, and GBA is committing to the advocacy for a peaceful resolution and backing of all legal and constitutional measures to restore stability in Bawku.
But they've also, I have to cut you in because our time is up, but they also expressed worry over the cases that the directive from is it right to even say acting Chief Justice has given? If you can quickly go through.
Yes, so the acting Chief Justice, Justice Bawku taking power and acting, one of the things he did was to give a directive through the acting Chief of Staff. And he says that all new cases that come to the Superior Court, High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court, should be brought to his attention so that he will assign a judge and a court.
Yeah.
GBA is saying that if you look at the times within which we live and with the advent of technology, it is self-serving to say that all these cases should come to the Chief Justice for them to be addressed manually. They rather think that the Chief Justice should withdraw this particular directive and rather allow for technology to be used for the assigning of cases as well as judges to issues that go to the Superior Courts. Okay,
thank you very much. Hanson Ajiman, he's our court correspondent here at ChannelOne TV as well as City 97.3.